I can't wait for tomorrow's episode 3 of the Obi-Wan series. I can't believe it's already here. The Obi-Wan series has been kind of a revelation for me, especially knowing how nostalgic I can become. It's just something special for all of us, and I can see that the fandom has grown quite accustomed to the trolling master being back together with Hayden Christensen. I love seeing this, and I especially love that Temuera Morrison finally made a live-action cameo as a clone. He did play a clone in the prequels, but he wasn't a real one. It was just his head, and the rest of those bodies were all CGI. Yeah, unfortunately that's how George decided to go do that, but for the first time ever, Temuera Morrison played a real-life clone, albeit a retired clone, a veteran, that has fallen into some hard times. What I wanted to talk about today is specifically about that clone. Before episode 3 comes tomorrow, will we see other clones, and who exactly was this clone that was laying there on the streets, and did he recognize Obi-Wan? It was pretty tragic to see this specific clone begging for money on the streets. It essentially talks about social commentary about many veterans that suffer after the war. They are used as killing machines during the war, but after it's finished and all it's done, the governments have been known to leave the veterans to fend for their own. And as we all know, all these clones you can see just by Kenobi, they have extreme PTSD, something that needs constant care and attention. We know that clone troopers were tragically brainwashed into killing the Jedi and executing Order 66, but by the Bad Batch you can see that the Empire had little use of them after Order 66 and after the Jedi were wiped out. In fact, pretty much soon after, Kamino was completely destroyed just because Palpatine did not want any competition. With Kamino, he conquered the galaxy. Fearing that somebody else might exploit the same type of plan as he did with the Jedi, he in fact decided to destroy the problem outright instead of fix it. In Season 1 of The Bad Batch, we see the consequences of Order 66 and the construction of a new empire. This left Kamino and the clones basically without a home. And with Season 2, it even further discusses how many clones have just been dispersed, while also using some quote-unquote traitorous clones to still convey fear. In the Season 2 of The Bad Batch, we kinda saw that Crosshair was still doing his thing for the Empire, for Admiral Rampart. We also saw Commander Cody still taking part in the Empire, and a couple of commandos as well. They could help the Empire or they could fight against it. In the end, we know the outcome. In fact, this is the outcome, as we see in the Obi-Wan series mere 10 years later. In part 2 of the Obi-Wan series, our favorite Jedi travels to Daiyu to rescue Princess Leia. While roaming the streets, he is taken by surprise when he finally encounters Clone Trooper after so many years. In fact, this clone was a homeless veteran. The clone was played by Temuera Morrison, and he was physically actually wearing a clone armor. He asks for credits to pay for a warm meal, to which Obi-Wan replies by giving him credits, albeit cautiously. This is a very important moment because the moment Obi-Wan and the clone exchange glances, there is something hidden there. Obi-Wan is deathly afraid. You can see that his fear was prominent during episode 1 and 2. He is not the Jedi hero that he once was. While in fact, the clone simply glances at him, looks at Obi-Wan, and nods as a thank you. Me, and I know a lot of other people, were just waiting for him to say, "Thanks, General." That would have been the most epic moment ever, but I know why they didn't do that, because, well, it would open up a whole new can of worms. So let's go into details. The veteran clone trooper has on a clone trooper armor that has white and blue markings. His helmet is similar as well, and this is what led a lot of people to kind of speculate accurately, in my opinion, that this guy is in fact a former member of the 501st Legion. This gives even more credence to the fact that the 501st worked alongside the 212th Attack Battalion very closely, and the 212th led by Commander Cody and Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi, gives us some indication that this 501st clone did in fact recognize Obi-Wan, but did not want to give out his identity. I mean, it's normal to think that after a decade of abuse from the Empire, from all the civilians that basically saw the clones as useless, and even the results of the inhibitor chip kind of waning down after the years, could have basically scrambled his brain. This could be a reason why he didn't recognize Obi-Wan immediately. But that glance, man, there's something to it. I mean, the 501st fought in a lot of crucial battles in the Clone Wars, and they served Anakin Skywalker and Captain Rex. But as we see during the Clone Wars, both factions, both Obi-Wan's 212th and Anakin's 501st, fought side by side together constantly. This is why it is very hard for me to think that this clone did not recognize one of his main Jedi generals during the Clone Wars. If we're going to look at this through rose-colored glasses, I'm going to say that I think what happened is that this veteran clone trooper could have killed a lot of Jedi during Order 66. As we see in the Bad Batch, a lot of clones came to realize the horrors that they have done during that time, and the effects of the clone control chip could wear off after some time. This 501st trooper is pretty much traumatized. Set aside the fact that the Empire has completely cast him aside and not left him a homeworld in Kamino. So 10 years later, this guy in a robe comes around. You ask for credits and then he turns around. You realize that it is General Kenobi from the Clone Wars. You know that the Empire and the Inquisitors are looking for him. In fact, at this moment, there are Inquisitors roaming around searching for a Jedi. So instead, you just shut up, take the credits, and give him a nod as a thank you and as a sorry. This might have been just my fanfic, but I want so much for this to be my, headcanon. I want to think it was so. I don't know, guys. Tell me what you guys think as well down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you. Until then.